Hey everyone, this is your Hairapy session with Emily. I'm your host, Emily Mazur, aka Portland Hairstylist. COVID has really thrown everybody in a loop. The continuing social distancing, wearing masks, not seeing loved ones, people losing their lives, businesses closing. It's ugly. It's ugly, and people are tired of it. But I would say for me, having done this podcast since May of last year, there's something that I've actually discovered. That's creativity, innovation, and drive to succeed and even just survive. And one thing that I've always really loved about Portland, and I still love about Portland, is how much our community supports local and small businesses. To me, that's really what Portland is all about. And this is what this show's about. It is about recognizing individuals who maybe you haven't heard of them. Maybe they don't have a huge following on Instagram or social media, but they are making an impact in this community. And Ruby Oland is just such a person. Ruby has a company called Rabbit Brush Goods, which, by the way, guys, the name is not at all what you think it means. Rabbit brush is actually a shrub in the sunflower family and is native to the arid western United States, Canada, and northern Mexico. It's known for its bright white or yellow flowers. Her line doesn't carry the shrub, but the idea of it gives you a sense of earth, warmth, something organic. Her line is a natural hair care product line, and in the line she has a shag spray, which I absolutely love, hair oil, and powder. Powder not only for your blondies or your very light colored hair, but she also created a powder that was darker for her own hair type. And it's actually a pretty big seller. Her product line is eco-friendly and harm-free. And it was such a treat to ask her questions as to how she created this product line and where she's at now with it. Oh yeah, guys, the other thing is she is such a great singer. She has this album out, which I've been listening on Spotify, and one of my favorite songs, Born in the West, which, by the way, Ruby, I keep playing over and over again. I'll be playing a little snippet at the end of the show. So here is my absolutely lovely conversation with Ruby Oland, owner and creator of Rabbit Brush Goods. Interview on Thursday, March 11th of 2021. All right, everybody, I am here with Ruby Oland, and she is the creator of Rabbit Brush. And she logged onto her laptop, but I wanted to check out her workspace. So she logged into her iPhone. So you guys can see this on my YouTube channel at Your Hairapy Session with Emily. Hi.
Hi.
And we tried to do this interview, I think a week or so ago, but my kids were just banging on the door as if the world was ending. And I was like, God damn it.
Kids these days.
I know, and now they're gone. They're with Nana, and now it's weird that the house is so quiet.
Yeah, right? Not that background noise.
Yeah. So, and it's so funny because, you know, it's like Instagram is that, well, it's the rabbit hole, which is funny with Rabbit Brush, but I don't know if it was from her on Instagram, Ashley Starr. Do you know who she is?
Maybe by her Instagram name, which might be different.
I don't know if she's selling your product at it's Om Salon.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Are you a couple different salons?
Are you selling products there?
No, not that I
Okay.
believe. No, I mean, she might have like purchased some products for herself and are maybe
Okay.
trying them out at her salon, but no.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do work with a couple different salons.
Okay. So, well, before we get into you actually retailing your product, why don't you talk about your product first? And I have the shag spray, the lavender one,
Hmm.
and I got the dry shampoo, which is the powder. I love it. There's sparkles in it.
Yeah, yeah.
I
That's
think there's
that's.
sparkles in the sea salt spray too.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then
Yep.
I have the magic oil, which I have not used yet.
Hmm.
Okay, so first of all, tell me about your line and why you created it.
Sure. Yeah. So I had known that I wanted to have my own small business for years. And I started out with the dry shampoo just because it was a formula that I had been using myself for years, and really been dialing in for a really long time. And so the goal of my company is just to provide all natural, non toxic, cruelty free hair care that is good for the environment and also good for your hair. And so I just saw a need for nobody was really selling what I was using on my
Mhm.
hair on a day-to-day routine. So I decided what better business idea than to go ahead and do that. It seemed like a lot of people were making handmade skincare.
Mhm.
And so I thought it'd be a good idea to do hair care. And it's
And
been really great.
you first started out with creating a brown powder, right? To match with your hair color?
Yeah, so I still make that one. That is one of my best selling products. And yeah, so I add in all kinds of like really nice dark powders like black walnut hull and clove powder. So it's like the darkest powder that I found on the market at all. It seems like a lot of people are still marketing like white talc based powders
Mhm.
for people with dark or black hair. And I have always been kind of a greasy kid, so my mom
Mhm.
would like douse me in Johnson and Johnson's baby
Oh,
powder.
that's hilarious. Okay.
Well, and I looked like terrible. It's like all white and chalky. So, yeah, necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Well, and it's so funny. I've never seen that before either. I mean, I you see the root color spray
Mhm.
to, you know what I mean, like clients that have gray hair, but I've never really seen a hair powder that's dark, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
Um,
it's kind of an older idea as well. So sorry
oh,
to
it's okay.
say, but like dry shampoo and hair powder used to be way more popular before the invention of shampoo and hot running water.
hmm
People had to kind of you know, like powder themselves more often, which is easier than taking a shower.
hmm
So
And
it's
well, going back to when you were creating this product line,
uh-huh.
and were you trying out different dry shampoos, like natural ones, and you'd look at the ingredients and then tweak it?
I've tried a couple. I would also just kind of well, I didn't really buy them because I already had a formula that I made
Mm,
for myself that I loved. But I would like kind of sneak into my friends' medicine cabinets and
mhm.
take peeks at what they were using and what was in there and kind of ask them questions about it. So
Is the formula that you use now pretty similar to what you were using before?
pretty similar. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty similar. And I actually got that idea for adding sparkles from a hairdresser at
Oh.
Bishop's, which and she actually was like, you should buy some loose eyeshadow and add it in so it's not like quite so matte on your hair.
Mm.
And so I was doing that for a long time, but then I stopped doing that. But
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I love it. Now you first started with creating a powder. Is that
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're creating your dark powder, and then were you also creating the light powder at the same time?
I started with the darker one, but then saw pretty immediately the need for a lighter one for blondes. So those were my first two, and then the shag spray came next.
Okay. So with doing the powder, when you were creating it for yourself, when did you decide to create the brand Rabbit Brush, or was that much later?
That was actually much later. Yeah, so I had a previous business name that was called Braided Root,
Okay.
and I worked under that for a little over a year and sold my products at Wildish, and they look so bad. I look back on some of the prototypes that I had, and it's really cute.
Was it something that you came up with yourself, like the name and then how to do the logo and stuff?
Oh yeah, it's been
Yeah.
like a huge journey of like, yeah, lots of
Oh, so
different,
funny.
yeah.
So was it Braided Root and then you started marketing it to your friends first, or did you just start marketing your dark hair powder to friends and then came up with the name?
I think I came up with, well, no, I started doing some product development, and I was like,
Okay.
okay, at the time I want to like start getting this business going
Hmm.
because I know it's going to take a couple years to get off the ground, right?
Hmm.
So then I was like, well, I need a name. So
Hmm.
I already kind of had the base formula down of the product development and a kind of a business plan. And then I chose the name, and then I sold to a couple friends like through Instagram. And then at the time I was working at Wildish, and they were very helpful because I could use some storage space and production space and then sell their products on their shelf, sell my products on their shelves. So
And Wildish Botanicals is an herb place, but what else does it have?
all kinds of really nice, like artisanally, locally made skincare and body products, and like ritual products, like nice
That's cool.
candles and all kinds of good stuff.
And how long were you working there before you actually was able to put your product on the shelf?
Oh, well, I think I started volunteering there first. I was an intern for a while, and so it was pretty short afterwards that we all became friends. So I'd say about 6 months, probably.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
before that, you were selling to your friends on Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you send out any
Mostly
free
giveaway products.
you would give away products?
Yeah, because I was still
Yeah.
interested. Use this and let me know what you think about it, you know? So,
And then was that also with strangers as well?
no, not so much.
Okay.
Just
Uh,
some close with different hair types.
and then what kind of feedback would and did you have a scent with that already? Because you have two scents out.
Mhm. Yeah, so the nature of the darker dry shampoo is that the clove powder
Hmm.
really lends it to like a spicy, warm spicy scent. So by the nature of the ingredients, it is already scented.
Okay.
But I had one friend who hated the cloves. It reminded her of clove cigarettes that made her sick when she was younger.
Oh,
But I like it.
now is that okay? I'm terrible. I just discovered the name when I saw your product because I ordered it and I honestly prefer the lavender one. Is it vetiver? Is that how you pronounce
Vetiver, yeah.
vetiver? Okay. Now
Hmm.
is that what the dark haired powder smells like? Or it smells like the clover?
It's similar. So it's vetiver is like an herbaceous grass, kind of like sandalwood,
Mm,
but a little bit like more spicy.
okay.
Um, so I really like it. People have kind of like compared it to like a kind of campfirey or
Mhm.
like a bark of a tree. So it's like
Okay.
masculine, right? And then the clove, like you know what clove powder,
Mhm.
like nutmeg and stuff. So
Yeah.
it smells like cinnamon. It smells like, a lot of people are like, it smells like Christmas cookies or gingerbread, you
Or
know?
mulled wine. That's what I
Or
make
mulled
every
wine.
year.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So those two are not identical, but they do get along with one another quite well.
Okay. When now going back to the product development, were
Hmm.
you working at Wildish Botanical at the time or was
Yeah.
that before? Okay.
Yep.
The product development, now you had your powder. Did you feel
Hmm.
like, okay, I could sell the powder, but I feel like I have to have more product on the shelf?
Yeah. I needed a little bit more like context. I
Mhm.
think people were just a little bit confused to just see like this jar full of brown powder, you know, and then
Mhm.
it was something that I had been using in my day-to-day routine for years, but I
Mhm.
realized there was kind of a gap for people that they were like, I don't really know how to use this in a routine.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of needed to create like, yeah, more of a spectrum of products. And so, yeah, I think I made the hair oil and the shag spray around the same time. And yeah, and that's when it kind of people started to understand it a little bit more. And then also I started putting application brushes next to the powder, which is how I recommend putting it on your hair. Rather than just like with your fingers can be kind of messy because it's a powder, right? So like the way you would put blush on your face is the same way you would apply the powder to your scalp.
And the application brushes are the ones that you create.
Yeah, so before I developed all of those, I just bought some wholesale. I really like a nice retractable brush that you can put a lid on. And so I bought some of those just to sell to people. Like a metal blush brush is super simple, and I find a lot of people have those kind of lying around. And then the brush development is a whole other thing.
How was that really hard for you? Because I know for myself, even starting the podcast, like I knew I wanted to start the podcast, and I thought about it last year and probably like 6 to 8 months. And I felt like I hit this ceiling where I was just like, God damn it. It's like, I don't know where to start. I want to do this. But then it was crazy because once I started getting into it, it got a lot easier. So what I'm saying is with your product, having to think about like, okay, I should make an oil. I should probably make a shag spray. Was that a difficult transition for you?
Yeah, well, especially with the brushes. The thing is like I've been making my own like hair, body, and face products for a long time now. So I'm familiar with kind of like the ingredients and how things mix together. But I think trying a new form of something like making a podcast or building a website or something, right? It's like I was actually just talking to my friend about this the other day. That's just the learning process. And I feel like sometimes as adults, we like become foreign to that again. And we get really frustrated and we're like, oh, this should be easier. I feel like I'm hitting walls or hitting the ceiling. And I think it's a lot of like just stepping back and kind of enjoying that like experience and being like, this is not impossible. I can absolutely do this. And just like keep bumping into the wall, you know, and like you just kind of have to keep opening yourself up to it and showing up for that project, you know.
Yeah. What now do you think we could go to your work area? Do you have some of your brushes there? All right, guys. So Ruby is getting up off the couch. She is walking in a brightly lit apartment. Room. I love it. It's so brightly lit.
Yeah, it's really cute. So I have this funny little side room. It's pretty small, and I have like some storage. And then this is like half of our closet room too. So like we keep our clothes here and stuff, but it's a mess in here. I'm sorry.
It's totally fine. My whole house is a mess all the time, so don't worry.
Yeah, so then I have like some storage bins here for my ingredients and overflow products. And then I've got like my fulfillment center over here by some nice big windows, which is really great. And then let's see here. I'll show you my brush. This is one of the first brushes that I made. So,
oh my gosh, that's so beautiful.
It's really nice. I like that. And so, you know, it's definitely handmade. Sometimes little hairs will come out. But whatever, you know, it's not perfect. And then right now, I actually don't have any brushes made, but what I do is I work with a local woodworker, and we designed the handles together. And he comes by and he drops off a batch of like usually about 10 at a time. And let's see, I'll show you. He just like gives me like a whole
I love those
handful of like different woods, a couple different shapes, and it's really exciting. It's really fun. So then what I'll do is I take a picture of all of them, and then I have a list of who wants to get the brushes, and then I reach out to everybody and then take notes on what color of hair they want on the bristles, and then I make each one custom for people.
That's
And you
great.
have to bind it, glue it, trim it, but it's really fun.
What
It's
kind
super labor intensive.
what hair do you use?
It's goat hair, so
Okay.
it's goat hair from a small farm in Washington. It's not vegan, but
Okay.
it's cruelty free. You know, they don't
Mhm.
have to like kill the goats to get the hair, and it's from a super small family farm. So
How did you so you obviously you knew you want to make the brushes and
yeah,
you wanted did you know you wanted a wooden handle?
yeah. So I'll talk to you a little bit about how I kind of came across making these brushes. Sorry, is the light in here okay? I feel
It's
like it's
perfect.
okay. Good. So I was trying to like find brushes,
Mhm.
and they are like all made in China. They're
Mhm.
all like
Yeah.
glue with plastic handles, plastic bristles. And if they're not, then they're $30 like for me, you know. So
Mhm.
I'd have to sell them at least like 50 or something, right? So I, after like months of searching and searching for the perfect product, I decided to try and do it myself. I mean, it couldn't be that hard. I
Mhm.
had seen videos of people like you get a pencil and then the metal tip where you keep the eraser,
Mhm.
they would like take it out and then put the hair in there and then like
Mm.
clamp it down and glue it, you know, but
Oh, okay.
that wouldn't work. So I did like I do a binding thing. So I make these very small tufts of hair and glue them all together. But it's fun. It's yeah, it was definitely a process.
How long does it take you to make one brush?
I've pretty much dialed it down now. So like the whole process of like binding, gluing, and trimming will probably take me about a half an hour.
That's not bad.
It's not too bad.
Uh,
Yeah, it's not bad. And I want to, you know, I only sell them, I think they're like $28. So
that's really
they're
good.
pretty, I don't want to charge too much for them, you know.
Yeah, and now when the guy comes in with the wooden handles,
Mhm.
you already paid him out then, right?
I pay him per after he delivers them to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how did you find the farm that has the goat hair? Like, do they just sell hair specifically
Yeah.
for this reason?
I found him on Etsy.
That's crazy.
I it's crazy. Well, I had tried horsehair originally, and it's very coarse. It
Mm,
doesn't like grab the powder as well as you would want it to. So
mhm.
goat hair works.
And so now let's go ahead. We'll go back to your products.
Yeah.
So now, what sells the most? You have your hair powder,
Hmm.
the sea salt spray, the shag spray. I absolutely love this. I love the
Hmm.
smell of this. I
Yeah.
have so my hair is medium to coarse.
Hmm.
It's fairly dry, but I do love the texture of the powder. And
Hmm.
then the sea salt spray is great because I actually have curly hair or like
Hmm.
wavy hair. So when I get out of the shower, I use this guy.
Yeah, and it kind of enhances the waves a little.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
haven't used the oil yet. So when do you usually apply the oil?
Yeah, so the oil is kind of an interesting product that I really like, but it's not necessarily an everyday product the way the shag spray or the dry shampoo is designed to be. I found I was using it like when before I go to sleep, I put it right on the ends of my hair that have some
Okay.
damage from bleaching or, you know, just life. And then kind of like braiding it, massaging it into my hair. But what I really like to do is if I know I'm going to be shampooing my hair
Hmm.
either later that day or in the morning, I'll really kind of, it's like a mask for your hair. So
Okay.
you can run it through, brush it through, and then sleep. And then it's just like a really deep conditioner.
Okay. Now, do you have any other products?
I do. Yeah, I have a couple other products. So I have a pomade, which is selling really nicely now too. So I have this pocket pomade. Oh, just throwing it across the room.
And that's for your hands and stuff, or is that for your hair?
It's for your hair. So a
Oh,
pomade,
okay.
You put it onto like the edges of your bangs if you're having them like trouble getting them to stay where you want them to or something,
Mm-hmm.
the ends of your hair. So if you're trying to like enhance, your curls or your layers. So I have that. And then I also have a shampoo bar, which is a solid bar. I don't know if you've heard of those.
Yes, I actually have a client. So we use R&Co that I love R&Co at the salon,
Mhm.
but I do have a client that's very sensitive to smells. And so she brought in her bar and I thought that it was awesome.
Yeah, it works really well. And it's really environmentally friendly because most liquid shampoos are like 50% water.
Hmm.
So you have to just like put them in a plastic container because they're filled with liquid, right?
Hmm.
So if you just remove the liquid, then I really like the shampoo bar. I find that my hair has actually been a lot healthier and it doesn't get greasy as fast.
What's,
But
oh,
it's
sorry,
not
go
for,
ahead.
it's
Yeah.
okay. It's not for everybody. Some people are really attached to their shampoo and conditioner, and
Mhm.
that's fine.
What's in your shampoo bar?
Yeah, so it's a goat's milk soap base and then lots of nourishing oils like cocoa butter and shea butter with
Oh,
essential
nice.
tea tree, which is good for your scalp.
Now, do you have different scents for that one or just one right now?
Just the 1 cent for now, just because it's not my best seller. So
Okay.
I have it, but I don't want to spend all my time on it because to answer your previous question, the shag spray is the best seller. So um, I want to dedicate my time to that one.
Okay. So now when we were over, because I think I spoke to you probably like last month or so. It was a little while
Mm,
ago.
that was a while.
Okay. So now kind of going back to your journey, which I should have asked you beforehand, but that's totally fine. You're originally from Salt Lake City,
Yeah.
right? How did you
Yeah.
end up in Portland?
Well, so after college, I decided that I would like to move away from Salt Lake City, which is beautiful, beautiful state, but politically repressive.
Hmm.
But I decided I was like, Portland is a logical city to move from Salt Lake City. It's not that much larger. It's not that far away.
Hmm.
It's similar in a lot of ways, but different enough.
Hmm.
And I already had friends up here, so it made total sense to move to Portland, and I'm glad I did.
And now, but there was a time where you actually took a break and then you went to, is it Teos?
House.
Taos, New Mexico.
Yeah, so I lived in Taos after a little bit, like I was like, wow, Portland's too wet and like, you know, I'm kind of a desert girl being from New Mexico,
Yeah.
right? So and I was like, what is going on in New Mexico? Seems like a crazy state, right? So I left and it was really great. I moved there and I wrote a lot of songs and wrote a lot of poems.
Which I do want to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, what brought you back to Portland then?
Yeah, Taos is intense. Anybody who has like lived there will kind of tell you that it's a space of like a lot of healing. I don't know how like wooey you are, like how mystical you can get or
Tiny
anything,
bit, yeah.
but it rests at 7,000 feet, and so it's just like kind of a lot sometimes. And I was feeling like I just had my fill of the desert.
Hmm.
Like you can only take so much. Like it's a lot of yang and like fire energy. So
Mm.
like, all right, I miss the ocean. So
Hmm.
it was essentially coming back to like kind of cooler, feminine water,
That's
ocean.
really cool.
Yeah, it was
So
nice.
how long have you been back in Portland then?
Gosh, and time has flown since I came back. I was originally trying to go to California, but that didn't work. So I ended up back in Portland. And as you get older, the years just keep coming, man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't sound like that long, but it's been a little over 3 years now. But
And then how did you find Wildish Botanicals then?
yeah, so I actually came to them. I was thinking about making makeup,
Hmm.
plant-based makeup, and I came to them looking for organic beet powder for blush,
Hmm.
and they didn't have it, but we became friends after
That's
a while.
cool.
They were the new apothecary in town. It had only been a couple months that they had opened, and there was a previous apothecary there called Fettle, and they took it over, and we just became friends, and I became one of their first employees, and it was really
That's
great.
really cool. So with the makeup, You were thinking about doing makeup and then you decided to transition to hair care products?
Yeah, yeah, just because the makeup, I don't know. I don't really know all that much about it, and the blush made me break out.
Oh, that was
So,
was that with beet powder?
yeah, beet
Oh,
powder and
okay.
add cocoa powder, uh,
Okay.
and stuff. So for like bronzer and blushes. But no, I mean, I had been using the dry shampoo for years, right? So I
Hmm.
already had this perfect product. So
That's really cool.
yeah.
How did you, and was it Braided Root then, right? The brand?
Hmm.
How did you transition to Rabbit Brush?
So I was under Braided Root for about, like I said, about a year and a half. And then it was still Braided Root, and then COVID hit, and it
Hmm.
was time, and I wasn't really doing any business. And also I never really worked too hard on that business because I was working full time.
Hmm.
So I didn't have like a ton of spare energy. But then quarantine hit, and I kind of had some time to recalibrate where I was at. And then, I mean, full transparency, I really liked the name Braided Root. It was a concept of like plants, right? Like plant roots, like in collaboration. But that being said, if you look up Braided Root and the hashtag, it has a lot to do with cornrows and braided hair.
Mm.
So I wanted to step away from any kind of cultural appropriation there at
Hmm.
all. And so I was like, well, I'm not too far ahead in my business. Now would be a good time to change my
That's
name.
great. And
Yeah.
then how did the Rabbit Brush come to fruition?
Sure. So rabbit brush is a perennial plant that grows around Taos, New Mexico. And it's also called chamisa. And it's a lovely plant. It's in the aster family, so it's related to sunflowers. And
Okay.
I just really love it. It's this beautiful like goldenrod color, which is
Hmm.
definitely one of my like main brand colors. And I wanted a brand name that felt like tangible.
Hmm.
It felt like something that you could kind of grab onto, right? Rather than a concept like Braided Root.
Hmm.
And so it was, and it works, like the rabbit is cute, and then it's kind of like hair care, like HARE, and then I make the brushes. So it just kind of fit. It definitely clicked in a way. And also my brand is kind of um inspired by the desert and the
Hmm.
desert colors. And so
I love
yeah,
the tones of it. Yeah, I love the tones of the labels, which actually you created new ones, right?
all new labels. Yeah, so that just they came out last week, and I'm so happy with them.
Do you have any of them with you right now? Because I have the label, they're all like light colored,
Yeah,
like a
so
soft pink.
I was I was printing all of those, hand cutting them, and hand gluing all
Oh
those
my
labels.
God.
That's ridiculous.
How many
Here,
hours do you work in a day?
oh, it depends.
Yeah.
Sometimes as little as like 3 or 4, sometimes as much as like 10, or
Okay.
at least, That's just small business life. It's
Hmm.
like whatever needs to get done has got to get done.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna flip my camera around here, and these are the
Oh,
new
I love
labels.
those.
Yeah, so these are the vetiver ones. They're designed by an awesome graphic designer named Tiffany
Is
Bryce.
she
She
here in
lives down.
Portland?
She is here in Portland. She's going to be leaving to go back
Oh, I
south
love
soon, but
those.
they're really beautiful. So that's that, and then there's the dry shampoo.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love them. I'm
Now,
very, very happy with them.
now, do you put the labels on yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you probably, it sounds like you don't have anybody else helping you, right? Or working with you.
No, yeah, it's all just me. It's all me. So
And you started picking up because of COVID.
yeah, so after like a couple months of like, being depressed and watching TV
Yeah.
all day, which you gotta do. You gotta get that
Hmm.
out of the way, and just kind of goofing off for a little bit. I was like, this is an opportunity. You have a lot of time. And so I really
Hmm.
started structuring some work days for myself, which was really hard at first to be
Hmm.
like, okay, you're gonna start working like 6-hour days,
Hmm.
like Tuesday through Friday or whatever. And it was just small amounts at that point in time, like only a couple days a week. work on brand development. And at first I was really oriented with selling vintage, which I also do sell on my site.
Okay.
But that takes a lot of time. You have
Mm-hmm.
to hunt for it, you have to clean it, you have to photograph it, you have to
Mm-hmm.
like list it, it's a whole thing, but it's really fun too.
That's really
And so
cool.
those first early days were really great. We had a spare room in my house, and I just like had lots of room to kind of spread out and play around.
Now, was this all for you to promote yourself? Was this all through Instagram and with your friends?
Yeah, so I already like kind of had worked into my business model. I have seen if there's so many successful businesses that use Instagram
Mm-hmm.
primarily. And like I mean, honestly, one of my biggest inspirations is this company called Plant Folk. I don't know if you've ever heard of
Mm-hmm.
her, but
Mm-mm.
she lives in Taos and just like she has a wonderful line of like handmade like body and skin products, and she makes them in a yurt and like ships them and has this beautiful life. And I think it's really great. Like I wanted a business, but retail is kind of a pain in the butt, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You have to have employees there all the time, you have to have open hours, you have to pay a ton of rent.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I think I can do this. I think that you can use Instagram. I mean, it's kind of a terrible place in some ways,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we all have our frustrations with that application, but it's
Yeah,
also like a really incredible tool that you can use to grow. And there's so many really supportive people and like honestly badass women like doing
that's
some
cool.
awesome
Yeah.
stuff. So it's cool.
How far? Because you told me that people in Germany have purchased your product.
Yeah, so like tons of international orders. I think I just gonna ship one today to Australia, I
And this is
think.
all through Instagram?
Primarily, yeah.
Okay.
So I think some people are finding out through Facebook. I post on Facebook, but
Yeah.
mostly so like my mom can see it.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah. Let's see. There's all kinds of places. I've been getting some more customers in Canada
That's
lately.
cool.
Yeah. But I mean, I ship anywhere. It's mostly just like sometimes it can be over $20 in shipping.
Which the customer would pay for, right?
Yeah, they would
Yeah.
pay for it. Every once in a while if somebody like really wants to try something, or I have a wholesale account at a salon in Canada, like on the east side of Canada, so like really far from us. And every once in a while I'll split shipping because
Oh, okay.
I want them to be able to get the products.
Yeah.
And if we split it, then it's only like $15 a piece.
Okay. Now, how did you get into, are you still at Wildish Botanicals? Your product's still there?
No,
Okay.
oh yeah. My products are still there. Hmm.
Now, are you in any hair salons in Portland?
Yes, I am at Teal Flamingo,
Okay.
which
I
is
think I
in,
just started following them.
yeah, they're in the Hollywood district. So off of Sandy and like 40th,
Hmm.
42nd. But they're a cute little salon and they have like thrift store too. They service some like
Oh, that's
nice
cool.
like vintage clothes, and they do that. And then there's a cute little store on Mixtape on Belmont called Mixtape that sells my products too. And they have they have like nice vintage clothes. And then I have some other salons like I think in California and New York.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then there's a really cool one opening, I think, in Austin or California. I don't know, but it's gonna be like beauty store convenience mart
That's cool.
vibes, which sounds really cool.
Do they purchase the products from you first, or do they take the product and then they sell what they can, and then you receive a commission or you receive your amount for it?
Yeah, both. So I have a couple consignment accounts where I just send them the products and then they pay me, a percentage. But I think it's preferable to do wholesale
Mhm.
where we just pack it up. They get a better deal. I send it
Mhm.
all to them, and then they get an invoice from me, and they just pay the invoice, and usually works out pretty good.
Where do you wanna see it? I mean, it sounds like you're just kicking ass right now.
It's
Like,
doing
since
pretty good.
COVID. Is
It's
it
doing pretty good.
does it surprise you? Like, you look back, you're like, "Holy shit, like, I'm actually doing this."
I think that, like, sometimes I feel like I should have some more surprise, but the thing is, like, I have been planning this business for years
Yeah.
before, like, really applying myself. Like, it's been, like, staying up in like, late in my bed thinking about what I wanna do, and then, like, going to meetings, for small businesses and making sure I had all my
Okay.
ducks in a row. So it's been a long time coming, that I'm like finally starting to see some payoff.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I am grateful, but I'm not surprised
That's
because,
great.
like, I think at first, imposter syndrome is real. And I was like, oh, I don't know if what I'm doing is really that special. And then I
Mhm.
had to give myself like a lot of pep talks where I'm like, you like know what you're doing,
Mhm.
you've been doing this, like, I'm familiar with all of these ingredients, like I have so much knowledge in how to manage a small business. That's
Mhm.
been all I've done, with my previous employers. So I think that uh I'm eternally grateful, but I mean, i'm I don't think I'm surprised, no.
No, that's
Does that
great.
sound full of myself?
Not Are you serious? Not at all.
Like, I work hard, so I think
Yeah.
I think if you continue to, like, show up for what you
Yeah.
really, really want, then I think, it's
I
gonna.
I totally believe in that. So I have always had the imposter syndrome
Yeah,
forever.
yeah, it's real.
Yeah, I did an interview with one of my clients who does like bad habits that create a toxic work environment.
Oh, yeah.
So I was looking down the list and let me see. I am self-loathing. That's one of my
Yeah.
major ones, not good enough, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so for like my Instagram, what I started doing is making it more interactive, which I think yours is a lot like that. So like,
That's what you gotta do.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's fun. Like
Yeah,
just
super fun.
recently I posted something about my client for her hair color. It's the purple one that I just did. And she
Mhm.
did it right before her birthday. So I kind of mentioned that. And then so
Mhm.
I'll do two posts of hair, and then one post is kind of something that's going on in my life.
Mhm.
And I think that that's,
Totally.
yeah, and it's great, and I've gotten
Oh,
really
yeah.
positive responses for that.
Mhm.
So, and then as to thinking about a business for a long time, I feel like for me, this is my last years in my 30s. I'm
Wow,
kind of, yeah,
yeah.
I know I'm an old lady over here. And it's finally feel good. It feels good to be skilled in your craft and not have to feel that you have to prove anything.
Totally. That is, like, such a blessing of getting older, is just, like,
Yes,
you're like, "Oh
yes.
my gosh, I have all this experience." I was just thinking about that the other day and thinking about how plagued I used to be with what people thought of me,
Mhm.
and I was just like, "I really don't have much time for that anymore." Like,
Mhm.
I know what I want, and I wanna work hard for it, and, like, you just amass so much knowledge and experience as you get older, that
Mhm.
it's just like, cool. Let's just keep let's just
Yeah.
keep going with this.
Now, do you have like a group of other people that make their own products as well that you bounce off ideas with?
I have some friends,
Okay.
but I'm actually really happy that you asked about that, because something new that I'm going to be a part of that hasn't fully taken form yet. But there's this really cool brand on Instagram that I found that's kind of like a peer of mine, I guess, called Terrastoma. And they make handmade makeup.
Oh, that's great.
And it's so great. I love it so much. And so they invited me to take a part of this, like, it would be like a coalition of small businesses who are environmentally minded.
Mm.
And so we would all like come together and manage like a shared account. And it would be this like, not like a foundation, I guess like a group, right? Like a coalition of small
Mhm.
businesses who can share resources and information and like work together to like have a greener business. And then the more powerful we get, like as a group, the more pressure we can put on like
Mhm.
either larger businesses or policies or whatever. So I'm really
I
excited about
think
that
that's
one.
awesome, and that's kind of where I feel like we're going to anyways, is the
Yeah.
direction of being more environmentally friendly. And then also, I do feel that it sucks with COVID. There are small businesses that are closing down, but there's also small businesses like yourself that are really creating some amazing work and then also connecting with others too, which is
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. It's definitely hard to see, but
Mm.
things change, you know, people adapt. You got to adapt.
So, other than the joining this group, where do you see your business going? Like, do you have any goals this year or something that you really want to do this year?
Well, I guess I might as well just say this out loud, but me and my partner are like kind of low key talking about moving to Brooklyn in the fall. So
Okay.
I guess making enough money to make that happen. But you know, I think like just keep going for where I'm at right now. Like, um, keep finding new like salons and rad women to work with. And I think eventually, like, I don't want my business to get huge. I don't really
Mhm.
like the like uncapped growth of
Mhm.
capitalism, you know, where I'm just like, I want to get rich and have a warehouse and a bunch of employees. Like,
Yeah.
I really like the model of like, you know, taking on what you need.
Mhm.
So, you know, eventually I'd like to like, you know, have a couple friendly employees and just continue making my business like as fair and sustainable and equitable as possible. And being able to do that when you have more money as nice, you know,
Oh,
like,
that's great.
yeah. So just keep going. This is
That's
I'm not gonna
awesome.
stop doing this anytime soon. So
So, and you still want to keep up with the vintage clothing though, too, also. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
do because it's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun for me, but it is also really time consuming. But you know, like, yeah.
So now this is where I get out, go to a different direction with you. I did not realize that are you a singer?
Yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter.
Okay. I really wanted to go to Sou'wester. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Okay. Are those like RVs or what are those?
They're vintage trailers that they've like
God.
they're it's awesome. Southwester is so cool. The vibe is right.
And it's not very far from Portland, right?
No, it's a little over 2 hours, so it's just like 20 miles north of Astoria. So you just cross
Oh,
over to
okay.
Washington and it's like right there.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, my friend and I were thinking about doing
Nice.
that.
It's really nice, and they have some really good COVID precautions as well,
Oh,
where like
okay.
they've
Cool.
got it kind of, you know, dialed in, so it feels really nice and safe, and it's good.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So talk about your singing. Was that something that you got into more with COVID and having more time, or is this do you
Yeah.
want
No.
this to go anywhere or
Well, I've been singing and writing songs. I started writing songs when I was about 15, so
okay.
it's been a long time. My dad is a musician as well,
Oh,
so
cool.
it's been a part of my life for a long time. And but I've been singing ever since I was a kid. Like I love singing so much. And you know, it's kind of a shame that with my business I have a little bit less time, but that being
Mhm.
said, like I released an album on the first of the year
Oh,
that I'm
great.
really excited about. My partner is like a music producer, which is
Oh,
very
cool.
helpful.
Yeah.
um and you know, I'm at this point in time I'm just really trying to like hone my craft. I'm taking guitar lessons.
Oh, that's
So
great.
I'm trying to get better with my like skill set.
Mhm.
But I pretty much knew from an early on age that music was not something that I wanted to do for financial gain.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't earn any money at it. I
Mm.
spend money
Yeah. Yeah.
making the albums and publishing everything. But it's I just do it for the joy of it, just
Mhm.
for, you know, like the cathartic experience of sharing music and Yeah.
Is it under your name, Ruby Oland?
Mhm.
And then
Yep.
what's the album called?
It's called Born in the West.
Mm, that's
Yeah, but I have
awesome.
another EP called Wolf Spider on there that came out a couple springs ago. That's a really sweet album.
Where can people find that?
All over. It's streaming everywhere on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes and
Oh, that's awesome. That's
yeah, the
really
whole thing.
cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm so glad that we connected. I am
I know, me
so
too.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love all your products, and I think I'm
Mhm.
actually gonna I do want to order a brush, so I'm for sure gonna order a brush from you.
I'll put you on the list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I love the handles, and I'm just really excited for you. I'm really happy for you, and I'm glad your
Yay.
business is going so well.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so happy that you reached out. It's fun. I've never really done anything like this before. So,
Yeah, sometimes guests get kind of nervous, but really it's just having a conversation recorded.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've done just not for my business. I've done a couple things for my music before,
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, where can people find you?
So the number one way that you can kind of keep up with what I'm doing and new products and whatever is on Instagram, Rabbit Brush Goods. But my website is rabbitbrushgoods.com, and I'm kind of on Facebook, but not really. It's
Okay.
mostly Instagram.
And then people can reach you through like direct message on Instagram, right?
Yeah, DM is the best way, but you can also email at info@rabbitbrushgoods.com. And yeah, I love working with people. And yeah, I'm also want to mention real quick, I'm excited to start like working with other people. I'm gonna start kind of having some of the makeup that I mentioned on my website and a couple other like cool
That's great.
artists. We're gonna start working together there. So yeah.
That's great. Well, it was so good talking with you, Ruby.
Yeah,
So this is
it's nice
Ruby.
talking to you
Yeah.
too.
So this is Ruby Oland, creator of Rabbit Brush. And can you stay? I'm gonna end the recording, but I forgot to tell you that before. Usually sometimes people hang up on me and I'm like, wait, I still want to talk. So guys, that was my lovely conversation with Ruby Oland, owner and creator of Rabbit Brush Goods. To learn more, please visit her website at www.rabbitbrushgoods.com, her IG at rabbitbrushgoods, and you can also find more information on my own website, www.hairapy.salon. So that's it for now. Be safe, be healthy, and above all, be hopeful. This is your Hairapy session with Emily. I'm your host, Emily Mazur, aka Portland Hairstylist. Show written by Emily Mazur, sponsored by Ziba Hub. Ziba Hub, a beauty app where you can find jobs, explore events, and build community. And editing by 127 Media House.
Well, I was born in the West. Yeah, I was born, or I was raised out in the West. Oh yeah, the desert is my nest. Well, his splendor brings a swell up to my chest. Oh, and who's to say what's worse or what's best? But I feel at home. Well, I feel at home. Oh, well, I've never been out to the south. Oh, Lord, I've never been out to the east. All I know is that New Mexico and his sagebrush should do smell sweet. Well, I was born in Utah, or in the mountains, oh Lord, the snow. Oh, and I don't expect how to guess what's next. Oh, but there's one thing that I home. Well, have you ever seen a full moon rise over Canyonlands? Or have you ever lost your mind in the Oregon woods? Where have you ever slept out on a California beach collecting feathers all for your hair? Well, have you ever felt at home? Or have you ever felt at home? 'Cause I feel at home. Well, I feel at home.